And welcome. We are back with the 8th episode of the Killer Kaiju podcast. Thank you all for tuning back in, or if this is your first time, you've come in just for the right film. As always, it is I, Lucas.
And it's Josh as well.
And we are going to get some Killer Kaiju action. Sorry, it's almost as lame as some of the outfits in this movie, but they're great, but lame. So
it's okay. I'm more excited about coffee.
So last movie we watched Ghidorah, the Three-Headed Monster. Great film. We both really enjoyed it. Josh actually enjoyed it a lot more than I thought he would, and I think enjoyed it more than I did.
Best one so far.
Yeah. This one is pretty much, I feel like this one piggybacked off that one. They said, hey, we've got something great with this idea of this villain, and I think we can do it better and we can make more money. So let's take a shot at it. And, I think both are different and good in their own ways, but I prefer this one for its own reasons. I know Josh is already going to hate this for one reason, and that's his favorite actor is not in this one.
I already hate it.
He's in the next two movies after this, but he's gone for this one as well. I feel like maybe they thought that having the same characters cross over again with the same, it caused confusion. Anyway,
where's the confusion?
He's in every other movie.
Like exactly.
Oh,
just
God.
Different character, same guy.
Oh, geez. So as always, guys, this is a commentary / podcast. So we talk about the movie, give us our thoughts, give you some cool, interesting facts while we watch along. If you have the movie, we are watching the original Japanese cut of the film, which is particularly hard to get your hands on for this version. But if you end up watching the English version, there's not too big of a difference. So you can still watch along with us. So as always, we'll count down from 3, and then we'll have the option to look at the timer on the bottom of the screen if you're watching this on YouTube, and we can you can follow along.
Do you have your timer set up?
I do.
Okay, that's just a friendly reminder for the last 2 that you forgot.
Yeah, I always get it back, but that's all right. It's better that we have it right on the start. All right, folks. So on the countdown from 3, we are going to start this film and get right to it. So 3, 2, 1, Invasion of Astro-Monster. Let's go. So for this film,
Monster.
This film is really big for a lot of reasons. One of the biggest reasons for that being obviously Ghidorah is coming back for a second time. Ghidorah made his first appearance, King Ghidorah, in the last film. It was his film, essentially. You noticed he was the villain in the last one, but he was just he was the villain. There wasn't really any other angle. It was like this woman from Venus said that this alien creature was coming to Earth to destroy it because they destroyed her homeland. And he was kind of the centerpiece and the villain, which is cool. It amps him up. But at the same time, I feel like it's really hard to make a good narrative when your main villain is the monster. You have to really depend on other stories, which is why I think we liked the last one so much, because they had so much other stuff going on that was interesting to the plot. While this one tends to be like, yes, this is the Ghidorah again, this is the villain, but there's some other stuff trickled in to that reasoning.
I don't know. I just want more monster fight, less romance.
Oh, so here's the thing about this one. This one actually has quite a big romance in it. However, it's really interesting on screen and behind the scenes for that romance as well. So this one is a huge deal because we actually, for the first time, I know technically some of the older Godzilla films like King of the Monsters, the original American remake of Gojira, had Raymond Burr reimposed, but this is the first Japanese Godzilla film that actually features an American actor in its original cut. He's not reimposed. He's actually cast and is one of the main characters in this film. And our main character in this one is Sir Nick Adams, and he is American. He was in a couple other Toho films. He was in Frankenstein Conquers the World. And he was also in, I believe, The Mysterians. I could be wrong there. I'll have to look that up in a bit when we go back to him. So we're opening up here. We've got our 2 main characters that we're going to be following in this film in their spaceship right now. We've got Nick Adams' character here. His name is Glenn. That's a pretty easy to remember. Very generic, Glenn. And then our other main character to side him is basically, his name is Kazu Fuji, and he's coming back from the original Godzilla. The actor Akira Takarada, he was in the original Godzilla, and I'm pretty sure has been in all of them up until this moment as well.
I noticed we're getting a lot more space stuff in the past few, at least.
Yes, this is the big one because this introduces a concept that will get replayed over and over, and it will beat you up for the other Godzilla movies. The rendition of space beings and aliens controlling monsters. They start a lot of ploys with this movie, for good, for better, or for worse. They start a lot of things in this movie that they tend to reuse in a lot of future films, not feature films. But the one negative thing to take away from this movie, the only negative thing I could say about it is that this movie starts the horrible use of stock footage. Now I know in Godzilla Raids Again or Gigantus the Fire Monster, whatever version you watched, I do know for that version that they reused stock footage from the original Gojira, but the difference is they were using it to recap what happened. It's not like they were using the footage and saying, hey, this is what's happening right now. And you're like, that's footage from the other movie. But unfortunately, Toho with their budgeting and stuff, they tend to try and save some money in these films as they go along. And they try and reuse some footage. So there is some stock footage reused in this movie. I believe they're used from Mothra versus Godzilla. There's some stock footage from that. And they use some stock footage from Rodan, the standalone Rodan film, because Rodan is also in this movie and he makes an appearance. So no Mothra in this film.
I can't get over how comfy those NASA helmets looked. Like giant like pillows in them. Also, they said that they were going to Planet X or some crap where they should do a crossover with Jason X. Giant Godzilla versus Jason X. I'm in.
Who would win that one?
I had so much going on in my mind for that past like little scene, and I'm like, all right, cool.
So yeah, as we're going right now, that's where we're kind of at. The two astronauts, our two main characters, are on a spaceship and they're heading to Planet X, this new planet that they've discovered, and they're basically heading out to discover it and step foot on it, just like the moon, and be like, hey, this is our planet, we're here. Oh, that's an atrocious sound.
Inventor.
Yes, I like this one. So this alarm, it's called the Lady Guard alarm protector. I know when I was a kid and I watched this movie, I never thought what it was. I was always like, why is he making this loud, obnoxious thing? It's obviously if you're attacked at night, it's used as an alarm to scare people away if you're getting attacked. You know what I mean?
That's clearly it wakes up everyone.
Yeah. The range is improving. Yes, I would say so. I mean, it is a good idea. You know what I mean? If you have, let's say you're not as strong-willed, or you live in a bad neighborhood and you have to go out at night, or you work somewhere that's a long distance and you have to, I would probably take something like that if you're not really into weapons or something like that to protect yourself.
I was gonna say, or a knife.
Yeah, but
mace, anything.
So the alarm is a smart idea. It is a smart idea. I get what he's going for here, and that plays a role later on. So do remember his invention. So Planet X will be the 13th planet they've discovered. It's very dark. We couldn't even see it with a telescope. Well, then how the hell did you find it? That's okay. Oh, it moved out of orbit. That's how they were able to see it. That makes sense. That makes total sense.
I like their model. I want it.
The solar system model they got on the table there?
Yeah. Yeah, it looks really cool.
So obviously they want to go to Planet X to see if there's like intelligent life or anything like that, because judging by where it's orbiting, they're saying it could be habitable. There could be people living on the planet. But hey, that's why our two main characters are going to find out.
When did we land on the moon?
So, I mean, which one? The fake one or the real one?
Okay, the fake one, I guess, because real, fake, whatever you want to call it, but either way, yes,
69 though, I believe. I think it was 1969 was the.
Okay, so I guess they could be still doing like the whole space thing. That's probably why they were inspired by it more, because
this is 1965, so this was 4 years before the moon landing.
Oh shit! Okay, so yeah, I wasn't even thinking about what year this came out.
This only came out a year after the last movie too, so they made this movie in a year. Toho was pumping out kaiju films. They're like, people love it. Let's make some money, honey.
And they knew what was up before NASA did. We can get to planets.
That's interesting. I never thought about that. That they actually are landing on planets and using actual things before they landed on the moon. I mean, there's been sci-fi movies,
like, how the hell they get into Planet X? But I'm like, how are you getting to Planet X? It's 1960 something. I'm like, has NASA even landed on the moon yet? Has any of this happened?
So here we get two new characters here. So obviously our inventor who invented the machine here with the glasses. This is his lover. Eventually he'd like to marry her. It's technically his girlfriend right now. Yeah, see your wife, I hope eventually. And then this woman we have here on the left with
sounds spooky.
The drop over face. She's wearing that hat there. She is actually a really big role in this movie. What's her name? The actor's name? I think it's Kumi. Yeah, Kumi Mizuno. She's been in quite a lot. Like we see her in, she was in a couple of the Toho movies we didn't watch because there are a lot of films we didn't watch. Like she was in Gorath, she was in Frankenstein versus Baragon, which
I
was
still think
Frankenstein
we should
conquers the world.
watch. We should watch the Frankenstein ones. Ever since you said that, I'm like, wow, these sound entertaining.
They are cool. We should watch them actually. Well, maybe we'll go back and watch some of the other show ones.
That's like a half crossover between our horror world and this world.
And what's super cool about this one, not this gentleman, but our other main antagonist with Glenn, that actor and Kumi Mizuno, the girl who was wearing all the black there, the two of them obviously were in all these earlier Toho movies, and it's cool because they come back for Godzilla Final Wars, which came out in 2004, which was like the last really big Toho movie they sent out with a bang, and they actually came back to kind of play in those movies again, kind of as like a nice homage to the older films. So I thought that was kind of cool. I also want to point out that they're approaching in the spaceship right now, and their helmets aren't on. They have their visors up, people. God forbid if, they passed around that moon and a giant beam of light shot through the front of their ship and just blinded them. They're not getting home now. They can't see.
Imagine having one of those helmets on a flight. You'd sleep great.
Yeah. Well, people forget that, the space helmets and stuff, the reason they have that coating on them is it's not because to protect the air. Like, yes, it's to maintain your air supply and keep it sealed, but there's actually protective visual integrated in the shield that helps you from the light of the sun, a shooting star, a huge bright explosion, really anything, because in space it's a lot more contrast, right? So you need to have eye protection because everything's black. So when something's bright, it's really bright. So you got to have that stuff. So it's funny that they're not, I know it's 1965, they don't know, but it's like, come on, guys. I do wonder though, now the Japanese title for this movie was Invasion of Astro-Monster. And the American cut of the film was called Monster Zero. Now, I wonder if the original
first one sounds more badass.
Yeah, that's what, I mean, I know Ghidorah's nickname is Monster Zero, but the Invasion of Astro-Monster, I wonder if that was kind of a link because there was a lot of invasion films coming out at that time, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Invasion of what's the other classic? Not Astro Zombies, it's something else, but you know what I mean? There's a lot of invasion films around the 60s. And I wonder if they were kind of hopping on board with that name. And then when America saw it, they're like, no, we're not doing that.
Maybe. I also like how their name things on their suit is K Fuji and the other one is Glenn.
Yeah. Because that's their names, right? It's just funny because his name's Glenn. I don't mind the special effects in this, the practical effects in this. Like this rocket looks pretty good for its time. And like how it zooms slowly in on the planet, like that all looks okay. That backdrop looks good. If you really focus in on it, even in we're watching obviously the Blu-ray remaster, so it's like digitally enhanced, so you could really kind of tell if you really look at it. But I imagine with like a little knock off the quality, that would look very, very real. Like I feel like they definitely had a pretty good budget for this one. The budget for this film was 132 million yen, and box office taken, it took in 210 million. So it came close to doubling its worth. So that's pretty damn good.
How much is that in Canadian? I'm not exchange rating. That's your job. Okay. You have the computer in front of you.
Yes. Let me check this out for you here. So it was 132 million. So that would be, wow.
Yeah, see? When you see it over, you're like, oh, okay.
That's incredible. I'm very shocked.
I don't know if you're talking about the money or them just landing on the planet.
Oh, both. So
wow, that's incredible.
Shit. That's one. Well, see, it's different because this is like compared to like these days, how much it would be. So technically the 132, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 million yen would only be 14,850,000 roughly.
That's still not right. Bad. I mean,
I could just be getting the math wrong here. Hold on, folks. Oh no, it goes down. Sorry, yen is more. I'm stupid. Very stupid. It's so it came down to $1,485,000 is how much Canadian it would have grossed. So just over $1 million. But for that time, ain't bad. Ain't bad.
Oh yeah, like that wouldn't be bad at all. Like
no, like I know like budgets in America were crazy more, but like that's a really good success for Toho. I'm proud of that. Good for them. That's actually really good. Not bad at all. I cannot stop thinking about how comfy those helmets look now.
right?
The padding.
Every time I look at it, I'm like, man, if you were on an airplane, I want one of those. I'd be able to sleep great. We go on tour, one of those. Also, these wrestling boots that they got going on are dope.
So we did do a couple of off films. I know we did Mothra and we did Rodan, which aren't technically part of the Godzilla Showa series. So technically, this is only the 5th Godzilla film we're watching. And then we watched the other 2. So we actually have 10 films left after this, I think.
That's not terrible.
No,
also,
and that's the show at air anyway.
Also, on a side note, if you are listening to this, there is a new toy release for Godzilla. Everyone should buy them. Buy them all.
Yeah,
buy them all.
Who are the makers for the series? It's not NECA, is it?
I believe it's NECA. It's either NECA or Trick or Treat or something, but it's on Big Bad Toys, and everyone should buy them. And I want both sets.
They're pre-orders. It's not bad. They're like what? They come out to like $20 a figure. If you pre-order,
I think it's
them.
even less than that. It's like $60 a set. There's 2 sets, so like that's not terrible.
And you get a lot of cool figures that really didn't have a release before. Like you get a Gorosaurus. Gorosaurus is in one of the sets. That's really hard to find a good Gorosaurus because he was only in 1 or 2 films. You get the Mothra larva,
Rodan,
Manila.
Like you get a lot of really cool ones,
and
some that I haven't even seen yet. Well, some of them I don't even know yet, right? So that's where I'm like, even for the pre-orders, I'm kind of in. I like my toys, and I'm getting into Godzilla.
Manila's
pre-orders.
Silly. Not the next film, but the film after the next film, Son of Godzilla. That's when you'll see Manila for the first time. And for better or for worse, some say he destroyed the franchise. Some say they reinvented it. I've never been a big fan of Manila just because I feel like it really kid-friendly the movies. And once it became kid-friendly, I just felt like they were trying to compete with Ultraman and Gamera and all that jazz. And We'll probably tackle the Gamera films later once we finish the Godzilla and do some horror when we're feeling like doing some more kaiju films. We'll probably come back and do some of the other off movies because Gamera was basically the response to Godzilla when they said another company, a film studio in Japan went, hey, we could make money like them.
What was the other TV show that you were telling me that is made by them that looks like Power Rangers?
Zone Fighter. Yeah, so Zone Fighter, I really want to get my hands on. It's hard because it not once had a North American release. It was never subtitled. It's had like 1 or 2 DVD releases in Japan, and then people have bought them and then subtitled them themselves and illegally distributed them over here. I would like to get my hands on an original. I would really like that, and then I could just subtitle them myself if I had to. But we'll see.
That'd be really cool.
But I do love right now. There's a lot of love going around for Godzilla right now because obviously, depending on when you're listening to this, Godzilla vs. Kong just came out in theaters. And it really brought Godzilla into the mainstream. So one, it's making all these movies very hard to get. So if you're listening to this and trying to get these movies, I am so sorry if these are hard to get for you. If you want any help finding them or you just can't seem to find any from where you are in your area, always Amazon. Feel free to reach out to us at our email, killerkaijupodcast@gmail.com. Or you can, contact us directly on Twitter or Facebook, and we will do our best to see what we can find over here. We live in Canada, so there might be a few things we can get easier over here, vice versa. Or if you just need some help finding what's what, you can always contact us. Our door is always open to help you find films, to always branch out and spread the love of kaiju to everyone. Because I honestly had a hard time finding these.
Did you see that Ultraman is also getting a new figure from Mezco?
Yes.
A 12-inch collectible Ultraman.
Yes. For all those who love Ultraman, by the way, people, we'll do Ultraman eventually. If you really want to see like the movies, we're going to do the show probably. But if you want to see some of the Ultraman feature films or the Netflix series, just give us a heads up. We can always do those later in the future as well. But the originals are definitely the ones we want to get to just to cover our ground there. And we'd have to watch those ones before we watch the newer ones. Really quickly, I just got to say, I love the sets in this movie. Like the space sets are actually really good. Like that scene where he's walking. Yeah. And then the lights dim here. I love it. They use a lot of light effects. See right here where they just shine the light on Nick Adams here to make it seem like it's, I love it. Just a lot of good direction in this one. And it's the same people, like Ishiro Honda's coming back, same director who directed all the Godzillas pretty much. We've got all the originals coming back. We've got Tanaka coming back to produce, Ifukube doing the music. We've got everyone coming back. The only person is just Akira Harada, right? I believe that's his name, our usual go-to actor from all our other movies. He is not in this one, unfortunately. But I imagine he was maybe off filming something else. Oh, these suits are great. You know, it might be silly, but I'm telling you now, out of all the aliens you'll see in this series, this is still the best looking suit you'll ever find. I do like how they have small slits. So they've got these black visors for those who aren't watching there. They got these black skin tight vests on that look like leather. And then they've got these tight bald caps on with a little antenna sticking out of the top. And then they've got these huge neck tubes and these black goggles that go right across their eyes. And it looks like they're like bandits, like Cyclops, but then they just have these small little slits so the actors can see. And I imagine in the old quality, you couldn't see their eyes, but the fact you can see them in this is hilarious.
I feel like this is a very Star Trek-esque moment. It's like a Captain Kirk and Spock moment.
Yes. You know,
I feel like I was watching it. I'm like, I feel like I've seen this somewhere before. I'm like, you know, you had some like elf pointed ears on the one dude and we got Star Trek.
And that would, I mean, it's funny because the original Star Trek, isn't it 66?
I believe somewhere around there.
So this is before Star Trek. Yeah, the original release of Star Trek was September 8th, 1966. This came out in 65. Yeah, so this technically had nothing drawn. Star Trek ripped off Godzilla, everyone.
We know now.
We know the truth.
Hey, there's Homie.
See, so now they're like, we're in danger of our planet because of Monster Zero. And then Ghidorah emerges. Because I don't think they refer to him ever as Monster Zero in Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. The reason he's called Monster Zero in this movie is because our alien race here, they're called the Exilians. They don't name things. They name things by number because they're all kind of controlled by a computer.
So lightning looks so much better in this one.
Yeah. So this is Monster Zero because he's the top of the food chain. So he is Zero. He's the big O, right?
It's Godzilla 1.
I would assume so. They don't really know about Godzilla because they do know about him technically.
And then like Rodan and then Mothra, or would you do Mothra then Rodan?
I would do Rodan before Mothra because I feel like Mothra is less of a kaiju force and more of a spiritual deity. She's more there to help than to destroy.
Exactly. Like she's kind of the homie more than like the ass, right? Like
exactly. Yeah.
Clearly in the last film, it was Mothra trying to round the homies up, being like, come help, instead of being like, fuck y'all.
And I wonder why Mothra isn't in this one. I wonder if it was for one of two reasons. I assume it was either they wanted to save on the budget, or not crowd over the amount of creatures that are in it, or they wanted to, or they just didn't have a Mothra suit. Like maybe it got wrecked in the last one because she got lit on fire and crap, and you know what I mean. So God knows.
I feel like it's just over the top at that point. You already have enough costumes, enough villains or monsters in it, so you may as well just leave it as is.
Yeah.
Plus, you just got to spend more money to add her into the storyline.
I also like how they introduce the Exilians in this movie too, because basically they land on this planet. They don't know if it's inhabited by people at all. And Nick Adams goes walking around and he accidentally walks into the tube and he gets taken down. And then our other main character here, he's like, well, where'd he go? I have no idea where he went. And he starts searching for him. So it's almost like a mystery. You know what I mean? And now you meet them and you realize that they're trying to get your help. And you're like, well, I don't know if I trust these guys because they're sketchy. They took my friend down into the dark, but then they're also like, hey, we need your help.
I got one serious question.
I have one serious answer for you.
Why do some of these guys have peepees on their heads?
So the reason they have the antennas on their heads.
Yeah. Some of them or all of them.
They
all have peepees.
It's because the Exilians, you'll find out later. Spoiler alert if you don't want to know, if you haven't seen the movie going forward, but they kind of mentioned that everything is numbered. So we wish to borrow Monster 1 and 2. So yes, Godzilla and Rodan are Monster 1 and Monster 2.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's right.
Because they number everything. So the reason they have their antennas is they're controlled by computers. There's one big AI system that controls all of them and makes all their decisions. And they use the antennas to communicate with the computer. That's why they have the antennas.
So this is supposed to be like directly after, because they just said that they're aware that, they came together to defeat him. So
Yep.
like this would be right after, right?
Yeah. So this one is a direct sequel. A direct sequel.
So
Yeah.
I assume that after, because I asked at the last one, where's he going? I'm like, he just fucking flew away. I
guess
assume
he
he
was
just
going
went
here.
back to his planet. Yeah, I guess he just went home, I guess.
Yeah. Which
I know
assume,
I'm gonna
like, the
lose. I'm going
Ghidorah
home.
Yeah, he's like, screw this. I get beat up by giant monsters here. I'm gonna go back to this place where I can just vaporize these little Teletubby dudes.
Exactly. Okay, I'm glad I wasn't the only one that was comparing them to the Teletubby.
So here we get the main plot drive here. So what happens is the Exilians need Ghidorah gone because it's destroying their planet. So they ask the Earthlings if there's a way they can essentially borrow Godzilla and Rodan. They said they have a way of controlling them to bring them to Planet X so they can fight Ghidorah off once and for all.
But you also need Mothra because it wasn't just Godzilla and Rodan. So they got
Exactly.
goofed already.
So, and what the reason they want them to do this though is they say, well, if you do this for us, what's in it for, Earth? What can you do for us? And they say, well, we do realize one thing about your planet. You're highly advanced, but you still don't have a cure for cancer. So what they're saying is they have the cure for cancer. And if you're able to help us, then we will give you the main thing that you need for scientific research for your planet. And especially at this time, that would be the research and development for the cure for cancer. Deal. Now we'd be asking for the cure for COVID.
Yeah, but I mean, like, deal. Give us the cure for cancer, and you guys can just have Godzilla and Rodan. I mean, if you think about it, they're just ruckus on Earth, anyways.
Yeah,
send
and like
them to this planet,
and the Earthlings can already think that they can trust them because if they didn't think they could trust them, they would have just went to Earth and stole the monsters without asking. So the fact that they're asking makes them think they actually need help, and this could be one of two things: they could actually need their help, or they're playing them. And this is the scene that explains it. Right after they leave, all the lights dim down. We're missing what?
An egg. Where's the egg?
The egg will come.
There's always an egg per film. There might not be an eye patch man, but there's definitely a fucking egg.
So now our two main characters have gotten back into the ship and they are flying back to Earth now with the information they've received. What do you think? Do you think they're gonna do this? Do you think they're gonna give them Godzilla and Rodan for the cure for cancer? I mean, they get two monsters off their Earth, and then they get the cure for cancer, right? Win-win.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's win-win. You get rid of the two monsters that have been kind of like messing you up over the past like 20 years, and you get to cure cancer. Isn't that a win-win? Or are these guys fucking lying? Oh, they're liars.
Well, they could be lying.
I don't believe the PP heads.
Why you always lying? Can you really trust a computer? That's the real question.
I never trust technology. It always lets me down.
Exactly. Because if you really think about it, and honestly, it's what I was thinking the first time I watched this is, okay, but if they take Godzilla and Rodan and they destroy Ghidorah, what's left to protect Earth?
Mothra.
But that's it? Is just I think Mothra needs help.
I think there might be other homies still hidden in there. So.
Like, where's Kong? Is Kong gonna come out and give us a hand? Oh, that's really funny. We'll get into it with the next film, but the next film we're watching is Godzilla versus the Sea Monster. And the great thing about that one is it's actually supposed to be a Kong film, not a Godzilla film. So it's almost like they wanted to bring him back, but America was like, no, we want those rights. Screw you.
They should do like a Godzilla versus creature from the Black Lagoon.
Oh, that'd be dope. I do want to watch Frankenstein Conquers the World now, really bad.
See, I feel like that would be a good crossover from like the Toho franchise and then the horror world, right? Frankenstein's like a very classic movie.
Well, no, it's funny that you say that. Frankenstein Conquers the World is actually Toho's version of Frankenstein. They redid Frankenstein in Japan.
I'm very interested to see that one.
It's very different, but it's cool. I think you'd dig it.
I also vote Cannibal Holocaust. Just saying.
Yeah, if I can get through that one.
Hey, it's a muffed up movie, but like it had a lot of banning issues, court issues, things like that that we could definitely talk about. That's a good one.
Hell yeah. Hey, if you guys want to see Cannibal Holocaust, you just give us a heads up. We will definitely tag that one along in the future for sure.
I do.
I just go check our messages. It's just like 7 fake profiles you made. Just sending messages.
It would legitimately just be my normal one. Just over and over again. Demand. I've been on the streets for 3 hours talking to our fellow guest, and they demand it.
So these two characters, the reason how all these characters combine, because we know we have our two main characters who are in the ship, and then we have the inventor and his soon-to-be wife, and then we also have the other female lead as well. And how they're all related is basically the inventor and his soon-to-be wife. The woman there is actually the main character's sister, not Glenn, but the other guy's sister. Those two are related. So they're brother and sister, and then he's seeing his sister. So that's how those three are connected. And then obviously Nick Adams Nick Adams' character Glenn is just friends with and working with the lead there in the ship as well. He'll have a connection to our other female lead as we dig into it more. And we have some really cool behind the scenes stuff we're going to talk about once that starts happening.
Have you seen Superstore?
Oh, yeah.
Now, every time I hear Glenn, that's all I think about.
Yeah. That's so
that weird Kermit voice.
Did you know the pharmacist? You know the pharmacist character in Superstore?
Yes.
The creepy dude? He plays Kano in Mortal Kombat. Oh, by the way, guys, if you haven't seen the new Mortal Kombat, great film. We'll definitely tackle that eventually too.
Just do all the classics into the new one.
Yeah. The great one, the really terrible one, and we'll watch the new one.
Why not? I mean, we did that with this, right? Burn.
You notice that there too, right? It seems like they're starting to realize it's a cool moment. It's a good way of introducing it. They're sitting there drinking, and Glenn looks at the glass of water, and he thinks, yeah, water seems to make a big play because the Exilians didn't have a lot of water on their planet. So like, but then when they ask where they get their water from, they're like, oh, don't worry, we have our ways of getting water, blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, that's a little sketchy because your planet was dry as bones, right? Earth is mainly all water, so they would kill for a planet like that if that's what they need more than anything. So here we actually get the official all four sitting at the table here. We're still missing our one star lead as well. Kumi Mizuno's character. Oh, what's her actual name? So I don't. Namikawa. That's it. Namikawa. Sorry if I'm butchering names here, guys. A lot of these characters' names I'm really reading out for the first time, especially like not their real names, but their fictional names in the movie. I do love the chemistry these two guys have, though. Even though Glenn didn't speak very much Japanese at all, he was speaking English, actually. So in the original cut, they originally have Nick Adams speaking English right now. He is not speaking Japanese, and then they dubbed over him. So what we're hearing right now is actually a separate actor dubbing over Nick Adams, and doing his voicing. If you watch the American cut of the film, which is English dubbed, so it's everyone's voices are dubbed English, so you don't have to watch subtitles. Nick Adams is actually just his voice, and they just use the original voice that he acted in, which is cool because in a lot of the films they just dub over it anyway because they don't have the rights. Did you see him though? So our character, Nick Adams, Glenn here, just snuck down. He said he had to go on business, and they look out the window, and he's getting in the car with a lady friend.
Me.
Ooh, Namikawa. So the really cool thing about this, now that we're starting to see, so obviously Nick Adams' character, Glenn, and Namikawa, Kumi Mizuno's character, they have a thing. They're starting to see each other here. There's a little bit of a love relationship going on between the two of them, and we'll see it kind of expanded on as we go through the film. But the super interesting thing is actually Nick Adams in RL, real life, has been in many films, and he actually had an affair with Kumi Mizuno. And if you look up like later articles and interviews, she denies that anything really happened. But I don't blame her because of the fact of what happened. So the drama behind, we'll get into Nick Adams' drama here, so we don't have to talk through any like important plot developments in the future, and so it will make sense as we watch it. But Nick Adams, from his daughter, said anyway in an interview years ago, his daughter announced that her father always had a problem with leading ladies. He would fall for them and like develop feelings for his leading ladies in the movies he was in. And it became such a problem that him and his wife eventually divorced. And it's interesting because Nick Adams left his wife to go work on the movie after this and wanted to live and be with Kumi Mizuno in real life. But she didn't want that. She didn't want a relationship. She didn't want to be with him. It was just kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Whatever, the magic was there. And he just left his wife, his family, and then he had nothing. And I feel like, there's lots of other variables that develop, but I feel like that was a very definitive reason which led to his death, because unfortunately years later he was found in against a wall. He overdosed.
Damn.
Slightly after. So there's lots of rumors and reasoning to believe that the whole reasoning of him leaving his wife for her and then it not working out led to his depression and a lot of like issues, which led to his drinking and drug abuse. But
I guess that's also the downside of being like with people for like, a year or two filming a movie. Cause like you would actually grow like a connection with someone, have things in common, but it's also like a fictional character at the same time. So you don't know if it's like real life or not.
Yeah. And it's
kinda
tough too coming from him, right?
Kind of role.
And it's funny because he's if I do so recall, Adams initially may have met James Dean in December, because I thought he was involved with James Dean in some way.
That's funny.
Yeah, he was. So that's pretty cool. But I feel like, unfortunately, like it really sucks for him. You know what I mean? Because he came from America to a whole different country, and he couldn't really communicate with anybody other than those few people who spoke English. And this is the one girl who was on set that he had a connection with. So not only there wasn't much around him for him to, go to. So like that was the only draw. He had to stay there. So I do understand like maybe where his feelings persuaded, especially if he was thinking of leaving his wife already. But
I mean, if you had a wife, you wouldn't be like, just don't be the dick. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you got to understand that if you're an actor, like,
and at least he didn't just go and do it behind her back. You know what I mean? Like he had feelings for her. So he left his wife.
Yeah.
And then tried to start something and it didn't work.
Even as an actor, you got to have the understanding that like eventually you might play a role that you got to make out with someone else or like have a sex scene or something dumb like that. But you got to be mature enough to know that, it's still you and your partner compared to they're not just banging all of these dudes. But like, I guess that's the downside of an actor's life.
Yeah. Here we get the first shot. Sorry, not to dramatically switch topics, but here we get the first shot of the aliens UFOs coming out of the water. They look like massagers. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah,
but on the bottom of
do.
the UFO, they have the 3 rounded balls, like it was like a back massage, not a sexual massager, dirty money, folks, but like a back massager, not a vibrator, massager. And it looks like you would like. That's literally what it looks like. They look good still, but the only thing that worries me here is okay. These UFOs are in the water. They were already on Earth.
Yeah, they were hiding.
Yeah,
like Godzilla.
This is some sketchy stuff, people, because they originally thought it was Godzilla when it was arising, but the Exilians are already here. So we haven't heard too much from Glenn's romantic lover here. She looks a little sketchy, and it's weird to say, why has she been here this whole time? What's her play in all this? What do you think?
I feel like she's going to get taken over by the little Venus girl again or some crap.
Something like that. She's going to have some kind of connection to the aliens in that way.
Yeah. There's going to be something that's like she's the...
Yeah. And this shot's good here. This is a really good effect, like a practical effect, because the UFO lands. It still looks like the toy UFO we saw, but then people walk out of it, and they've actually built a whole set here. You can definitely tell this movie had a higher budget. I also love that they're just like
they probably got
skin
good
tight
success from the last one.
Gray suits. Yeah, get lots of pictures.
Tiny little aliens. They painted them gray.
Yeah, they're like definitely wearing a lot of powder too. So like they're like gray white, very pale. Well, they're from space, right? And there's no sun on their planet, so they live underground, so they wouldn't be tanned or anything, and they wouldn't have much color to their skin because they're deprived of so much nutrition and sunlight and water.
I like this guy. He's wholesome. He wants to do a friendship day.
Yeah, this is very much like, this always reminds you of Mars Attacks. Like, we come in peace, and they just whip out the gun and start shooting.
I love that movie.
Oh, that's another one we should do, folks. That's a Tim Burton film, right? Yeah.
Yep.
That's a classic.
I own that as well.
Another really good alien invasion movie. A little sillier, but silly in its own way, in its own right. It's also kind of creepy too. It's a good film.
Silly, but such a good movie.
It's a Tim Burton film. It's where we can leave it. Can you imagine if Tim Burton did a Godzilla film?
Oh, that would be glorious.
I think that'd be pretty cool.
He would lean right into the dark part of it, right?
Yeah.
Like that would be the cool part where it's actually like a mystical dragon, basically, or like
Yeah, he would
lizard.
definitely twist it very hard. I think he would keep Godzilla's origins the same because Toho doesn't let anyone change the origins of Godzilla legally. But I feel like they would twist like the stories of like Ghidorah and like everyone else and make them like because I know in later movies, like in the Millennium series, they in GMK they make Ghidorah kind of the good guy and more of a spiritual entity that stops Godzilla, and it's kind of like a switch role, like reversal. And Mothra and Ghidorah have to take down Godzilla. It's really cool. But then you also look at the anime series and they make Ghidorah kind of like a Lovecraftian creature, like this like being from space. It's like, you know, formless and it controls like everything, time and space. So I feel like Tim Burton might take kind of a play like that if he was to do something. Oh, here we go. So the UFOs now are emerging over the water. We know what they're going after. It's Godzilla. I love the way they pick up the monsters in this scene. I can never unsee the way Godzilla is. Like he's just like he's so for those who aren't watching, he's kind of like in a sitting position, like he was in the fetal position, but then he's got his tail up between his legs, like he's trying to like blow himself. And he's got his feet like out straight, like he's on a roller coaster, but his feet are straight out.
He was legit just sleeping, and they were just like abducting him like a claw machine.
Like Rodan, when he gets pulled out, he looks normal, like how he would be. But Godzilla just looks silly, man. Like, why couldn't they have him rolled up or something? I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little picky. And I mean, I know it was a suit. There's not really much you couldn't roll it because you'd break all the interior. There's a reason Godzilla can't bend left and right. He's got the Batman issue. He can't turn his head. So I know they couldn't have done it that way. But Rodan looks normal. Like he's just like cocooned. He's got his wings up. Like he looks like he would look if he was sleeping.
I like how they just knew where he was. Oh, he was in that
which
mountain.
Is also scary. So these aliens need help, but they knew exactly where Godzilla and Rodan were.
Exactly.
It's all just
They're tracking
becoming a little too coincidental. You know what I mean?
They're liars, man. Don't trust them.
They sit on a clogged toilet of lies, I tell you. So far, watching this movie, it's good. It's got some good quality. It's got some good story-driven moments. What do you think the Rotten Tomato score is on this film?
69.
Oh, I like that. There you go. 69. So pretty close. The audience score on Rotten Tomatoes is 63%.
Hey, not bad.
And surprisingly enough, though, the tomato meter for this one, 57%. It's actually not that good. I think the last one had a better, it was a 75 or something like that. So
far I liked the last one. Oh yeah, they're just macking.
They're macking. I do like how they got Nick Adams to play Glenn in this one because, you know, being the Space Force, it's obvious that they would have help from someone from another country as well. If they were going to a planet, like countries would team up to travel to a distant planet if one didn't have the technology to reach the planet. So that makes sense. And I do like that he adds kind of this Western like edge to it. You know what I mean? Just another differential character. I like it.
He literally is like a Wish version of James Dean.
Oh, look at her. She's up to something, man. You see her.
I told you she's part of the aliens.
Like you see it in her eye. Yeah, he's like, follow that car. He knows. Even he knows. He's like, this bitch is up to something, and he's lying to my boy, and I'm gonna figure it out. So here we have the two main characters who went to Planet X last time, accompanied by one more character, and the Exilians are gonna take them back to Planet X to pretty much oversee Godzilla and Rodan take out Ghidorah. Essentially, is what they're planning for.
But there's still no Mothra.
No, yeah, no.
But I'm just saying, you needed all three. They need to come together. The wholesome movie. See, that was why the last one was so good.
Over me.
Had fighting, wholesomeness.
I also don't think, though, the reason I don't think Mothra is going is for two reasons. One, Mothra is a protector of Earth. She's not going to go and protect somewhere else, just, you know what I mean, willy-nilly controlled. I think she's a lot more different and harder to control than Godzilla and Rodan, considering Mothra has telepathical abilities. I feel like they couldn't control her with the mind control stuff they're using to control Godzilla and Rodan. And I also don't think she would leave Earth.
But all you would have to do is kidnap the two little girls, like the two, yes, and then she's got no choice. Mothra will come. Just start singing the song, and you kind of would have to figure it out.
Because in the last one, we just had the larva, right? She wasn't full blown Mothra. It was just the larva.
Yes, exactly. So like you
Okay.
could have made it so where if they kidnapped the two twins and brought them and she started singing the song, that she would transform or cocoon and then fly to the planet
Hmm.
and bring them all together, because that would have been logic in my mind, because if they were continuing from the last one to at least involve her, but like we were saying that like they probably just didn't want to pay for another costume, like
Yeah.
there's multiple little things about it, but nonetheless they would have been able to do that, I think, with this one, because Mothra was like the come together homie and not like the destructive one.
There's even 3
But
ships.
yeah, exactly, but Mothra would still have to come and get the twins.
Yeah.
So bing bang boom, problem
Bing,
solved.
bang, boom. I also think that Toho tries to not do the 3 rule. Like if you've noticed, every monster is in the movie like twice, but never more than twice. Like they got like look at like Mothra was in Godzilla versus Mothra, and then Ghidorah the 3-headed monster, and now she's not in this one. Rodan wasn't in Mothra versus Godzilla, but then he was in the last one, and then he's in this one, but he's not in the next one. So I feel like they try and not use the character more than 2 times, so they don't overuse the character, because they want to keep their popularity up and they don't want to oversaturate the market.
But you can't spend an entire movie building a threesome homie ship between these 3 and then just split them up. This is bullshit. Yeah. This is like the Trailer Park Boys, and then Bubbles just wasn't there.
I can't wait for like 3-4 more films from now when you get to watch Destroy All Monsters, because that is literally like when Toho was like, okay, guys, our movies aren't doing that well, so we're just going to put all of our cards on the table and just make it an all-out fucking monster fest. It's great. Oh, so now we're going over to, where do we shoot to now? An island?
So Lucas, if you could have or pick one fictional character to fight Godzilla from any realm, who would you choose? Right?
As much as I would like to, pick something cool like the Jaggers from like Pacific Rim or something cool like that, I would want to take the realistic childhood dream approach and say that I want to see Godzilla fight like Gamera. Like I want to see Godzilla go up against his copycat. You know what I mean? Like I want to see Godzilla fight the people who tried to be Godzilla. Like Godzilla versus Gamera would be cool, or Godzilla versus
the bootlegs.
Yeah, exactly. I think Godzilla and Ultraman would be really cool. I know technically in Ultraman, we kind of see something like it because the studio that does Ultraman, they bought all of Toho's old costumes when they discarded them. And they often repurpose the old Toho costumes into new creatures and then use them in their stuff. So
like
they
bought an old Godzilla one.
Yeah, they bought an old Godzilla costume and made him like a flower Godzilla, and him and Ultraman fight. So it's the closest we're gonna get that way. But I would like to see like Godzilla versus Gamera would be really cool. I know people have been dying to see that, fans forever. And the only time they ever fought, I think, was they did there was like a live production where like, there was like a live theater and like someone came in a Godzilla suit and then someone was in a Gamera suit, and like they did like a play kind of, and that was the closest we ever got to it. And there's like no footage of that.
I think Godzilla would win this fight, but it would be cool to see Godzilla versus the Stay Puft Man from Godzilla, or not Godzilla, Ghostbusters.
Oh, Ghostbusters. I mean, if was it Zool?
Yeah, Zool.
Yeah, Zool could screw up. Zool could fuck up Godzilla, I think.
Like Ozzy Osbourne versus Godzilla.
You
sound like Rocky.
Oh, that's
okay.
True. There you
Still
go. Sylvester
fight,
Stallone
Rocky.
versus Godzilla.
Well, Sylvester still wins, like
yeah,
he's totally winning on that one.
He's got to.
Adrian.
Keanu Reeves versus Godzilla.
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. Godzilla be like, yo, that man's so dapper. I'm just gonna leave.
Only actor that's like a stoner rock guy, a sweet agent with gun skills, and like a surfer in another movie. That guy has played every different role. Like he's a mood right there.
So how do you think this fight's gonna go? Do you think they're gonna actually kick Ghidorah's ass? Like what do you think's gonna happen? At this point in the movie, where do you think this is going?
Oh, they're totally gonna win. Or they team up with Ghidorah or whatever, and then they say fuck it and then start killing everyone else. That would have been my whole plan.
Yeah, just like turns on the aliens and screws them up.
That would be a good one.
That'd be pretty cool. I feel like now what I want to know is, yes, Ghidorah's on this planet, but they have mind control. Like they're mind controlling the monsters. And I don't think at this point, I don't think it's canon that because Ghidorah's heads, they have telepathy, and they're able to communicate between the heads. But that's not confirmed until way down the line. So I wonder if in this continuity, in this film, technically they are mind controlling Ghidorah to attack their own thing. So they had an excuse to take Godzilla and Rodan from Earth. I wonder. I do love what you said though. The lightning looks really good in this one. The gravity
compared to the
lightning from
last one, I
Ghidorah.
just didn't like where when it landed, you could see where it wasn't touching the ground, like they were
Yeah.
editing in. This
And
one has a lot more fluence.
the heads move
Fluency?
better in this one too. The heads don't move as sporadically in this one, I find. They were more like on the puppetry because in the last film, that was the first time they've ever puppeted something with 3 heads, like, and it had to fly. But now they've had experience, so I feel like they maybe fixed it.
Now that you mentioned it, I can't unsee it. It does look like Godzilla's just holding his dick.
Yeah, I know.
I literally can't unsee it.
Oh,
now.
here he comes. Now he's waking up. Rodan's like, whoa, where are we? How did we get here? All right, boys, let's fight. Here we go. The 3-way matchup: Godzilla and Rodan versus King Ghidorah. And so far, Ghidorah's kicking their ass. Rodan got fried. Godzilla got his ass kicked. I'm not a big fan of the suit in this one. I find like the suits in this one are kind of beaten up. Like they look like they're falling apart a little bit.
They probably reused the ones from the last movie because they still look pretty much the same. Like
Ghidorah for sure. I think they may have touched up Godzilla, but Ghidorah and Rodan are definitely the same.
I still think Ghidorah is like the best looking monster so far. Like,
yeah, I feel like the reason the last movie did so well is just because the design of Ghidorah alone, like put the plot and everything aside, seeing that monster on the big screen for the first time in the 60s was probably the coolest goddamn thing. Because it doesn't look like a guy in a suit.
Yeah, exactly. How could you not be stoked with that? Like a 3-headed fucking dragon.
Oh, we get another rock fight. We're throwing rocks.
God damn it.
Oh, more rocks. We get another rock fight. We're throwing rocks. We're kicking rocks. This is rock and roll at its finest, people.
Ah.
Oh, I love that. Godzilla just like body jumps him, just
power bomb.
Literally just power bombed Ghidorah, and then Godzilla does a back roll out of it. Like, when did Godzilla do backflips? When did this happen?
I kind of like this version more.
The Godzilla dance. There it is, people. That is one of the most infamous, silly Godzilla moves of all time. Oh. That's in the top 5. I told you there's 5 moments in Godzilla where you'll just shake your head and be like, what the hell? That's number 1.
And these alien guys are just like, I approve.
Well, it's funny because technically Godzilla is being mind controlled right now. So they decided to make him do that dance. That's what's the funniest to me. Now, the dance is actually something. I did the research a while ago. I wish I had it pulled up right now. For whoever wants to plug it in on our site, please do. I'd love to find the original footage, but it's originally from a kid's cartoon show in Japan. And the character would jump and celebrate like that. And that was like his jump and his celebratory move at the time. So they wanted to kind of connect with fans and kids of that time doing that.
I want to see Godzilla run like Naruto. Please, like I want the arms behind, like everything, like him. It's just funny you say that. I saw like, pow, 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 pow.
I am in a lot of Godzilla pages, obviously on the web and stuff, and someone said that they're like, "Why does anyone else find it weird that Godzilla runs like a human?" And then someone commented, "It was like as long as he never Naruto runs."
I want to see that, please. I'd be so happy with my life.
I mean, we do see him full out fly and drop kick later on. We all have seen the drop kick scene, so he does defy physics.
Even I've
quite
seen
often.
that.
So here's when shit's starting to get sketchy. So Nick Adams and our other character here, I keep forgetting it's Glenn and
K Fuji.
Kazuo and Glenn.
Kazuo Fuji.
Yes, that's it. Kazuo Fuji and Glenn. Hey, good. That's good. Good remembering.
Well, on his suit it says K Fuji, so I was like, I don't know what the first part is, but it's something Fuji. I was gonna call him Fuji
and Glenn then, because you go by last names in Japan a lot. That's interesting. I do love how last names, when you say someone's name in Japan, you often identify them by their last names first, because it's family, right? And like that you're known as a family. That's kind of like you're known as like, oh, you're this family base. So like if you do something bad or you're not, you're lazy, that you're disgracing your family name because you're always often called by your family's given name.
Yeah, but I can't call this man Mr. Fuji because
you see this here? Who's that look
wrestling.
like?
Yeah, see, I told you.
But there's
I was
two of them.
right. I was right.
He's
Josh
like,
is always right.
He's like, this is my bitch. Oh wait, no, it's not. Neither of them
twins,
want to kiss me.
Basil, twins.
So they turn around and they run the other way, and there's more. Oh no!
Yeah, I was right.
We knew she. Oh, look at there's more
trusted.
of her. There's another one back there. See, so this is. I do like these shots. They were creative and like they might have standalones or they might just have lookalikes, but because they obviously they don't have 8 people that all look like the one girl. So they do their shots, and then every time they change the angle of the shot, they have her stand behind them, so it looks like there's multiples of her. I thought that was a nice touch. It was smart how they filmed that.
Oh, probably. And even if you see them from the side or in the back angle, it wouldn't be hard to just put like the same wig on another person. Because if you don't see the face, you would just see the shape. I love the arms and how dark it is.
You just see the arms pointing up from the darkness. I do love the design in these aliens, how they all kind of are similar, because it makes them, they are numbered, right? Like they're all just numbers in a system. And I find that dehumanizes them. So it actually makes them a little more intimidating, even though they look silly. I do like that style. I'm not going to lie.
They just
and
like
you bet your ass I'd
someone.
buy that suit. If I could buy that suit, I'd have one in a heartbeat.
I want to see you wear that for your pajamas.
Fucking wear it at my wedding.
Sarah would love it.
See, so they broke the rules and went behind it, but they're like, you've been invited as state guests, so I shall overlook it this time, but don't go snooping around. This is already red flags, guys. Huge red flags. I like this. So what they're carrying over here looks like a pizza. It also looks like a piece of styrofoam spray painted gold, which is probably what it is.
And is.
But it's actually the cure for cancer. It's a tape. Sorry, but there's no tape in the holder. It's
okay, they're saying obtaining the data on the cure for cancer. So it's literally a tape and it just has the cure on it.
Yeah.
No, I mean like quite literally the band, The Cure. It's just like just the Friday night. This is the cure for cancer. Play The Cure.
This music will be very popular in the future. Listen to it now.
It's Slayer.
It's a Slayer. Raining blood.
Jesus.
Oh, fuck. Angel of Death just comes on. You're like, hell yeah.
You might not like this now, but your kids will.
But your kids will love it. It's like Back to the Future when he starts
that's
playing
exactly what I was thinking. Exactly what I was thinking. I actually just found out. I just found out the other day that Dylan, homeboy, has never seen Back to the Future.
Oh,
this man
really?
In like the 2 years, 3 years that we've been friends, I have asked him 1,000 times, like, have you seen this movie? Have you seen this movie? He's like, I own it. I own it. I own it. This is the first movie he hasn't seen. And I'm so in awe at it. Like Back to the Future, amazing. I love those movies.
We've talked about it a few times. We'd love to get Dylan on the show eventually for some horror films and maybe some kaiju stuff. Has he seen the Godzilla films?
All of them.
Oh,
every time I do a little screen cap and I'm like, guess what movie I'm watching today? He is like, this date, like this movie. Also, it's also known in the States. And I'm like, you and Lucas will be friends. You guys will love each other.
Oh, that's awesome.
Every time I meet a Godzilla nerd now, they're all like nerding out. I'm like, I've seen now 8 movies.
That being said, folks, anyone who's watching this or listening to this right now, if you have some awesome, cool facts about any of these films or any movies at all that we've watched, feel free to message us with the information. We'll obviously bring it up on the show and give you a shout out if you'd like, or if not, we can keep you anonymous. Or if you got some really good insights on a film we're going to watch in the future, and you think it'd be really cool to have you on the show, give us a heads up, and we might be able to fit you and squeeze you into an episode as well.
Also, if you want to send me Godzilla toys, I won't say no. I like toys.
Oh, so now the ship they're leaving, our Fuji and Glenn are leaving now, but they're leaving Rodan and Godzilla on Planet X. I like the shot there. It's toys. They're just toys as it zooms out. Oh, so great. We are working on getting some stuff together, folks, too, as well. We'll have more definitive products and answers for you in the future, but we are working on getting some stickers made and as well as some new products and stuff like that. ordering a ton of Godzilla figures and stuff like that. So in the future, after we get through a good chunk of these Godzilla films and we have some more viewers and some guests and stuff like that, if you guys want to leave reviews or again, like shoot us messages, spread the word, we'll always be wonderful to do like giveaways and contests in the future as well. So definitely stay tuned for future stuff like that.
Also, we got some new merch on a site that Lucas will definitely plug.
Yes.
Someone should buy a blanket with our
awesome
faces on it.
Shirts, mouse pads, mugs, stickers. Actually, no, stickers we took off because we're doing our own stickers. But that site.
But we got merch.
Yeah.
Look at us go.
Oh no! So see what's happened here. So they've locked this guy up on Earth, the inventor. And then he walks into the other room with the Exilians. And the Exilians, see, this is where it's starting to go down. Part 4 of scenario 5. This is bad, guys. So at this point, it's pretty obvious to say that they used them hard. They just took all their protectors off Earth, and now they're going to just invade the shit out of Earth and steal
everything. 100%.
And they're just going to kill them and enslave them and take all their water. That was
so
the
they
goal
basically were just like, give me the gold, and now we're gonna kill you. You know what? They're kind of geniuses. Let's be real here.
Yeah, I mean, but the problem is they're controlled by a computer, so they're thinking proper in that terms, but they aren't going to be able to adapt to unexpected variables that will happen in this film. Let's just put it that way. Because computers are great, but they're only great for what they're programmed to do, right?
Nothing.
So now they come back. They've got the cure for cancer. Everyone's, yeah, we've saved the world. Look at us go. We're doing such great things. So they open up this here and they get the tape out. Wait till they put this tape in and you see what it is. Do you think it's going to be the cure for cancer?
No. Can you make a meme of this where he's putting in the tape and then the band The Cure plays over top of it?
Yes.
I would be so happy with my life. I'd be like, this is the best movie clip I've ever heard in my life. It's the cure for cancer.
And they're just looking at
Robert Smith.
Is the deck in working order? Yes, sir. It's working. Did they use a different recording format? Nah, you got played, son.
The tape just says, got him.
Got him. Oh, here we get something. Beep, beep. This is the commandant of Planet X. My orders to the people of Earth are as follows. Uh-oh, this doesn't seem good. They're all like, what the hell orders? Earth is henceforth a colony under our control. Boom. There you go, folks.
They got him.
And it was at this moment they realized they fucked up.
On today's episode of How Fucked Up Is That? It's real fucked up.
100% fucked. But now she dips. She's smart because she knows now. They know that she's an Exilian. So she turned and got the hell out of there. But
I'm
obviously
they just left her.
All because they all look alike, right? But it's not her. It's just all the people look the same because they're all like numbered by codes, right? So she might be different than the others, but they look the same. So we'll have to see what her decision, which side she takes as the film carries on. Whether she was just getting with Glenn to manipulate him or if there's actually something serious going on. I like
how they're just using, like newspapers and old footage and shit from
real
like wars
footage
or something. Yeah.
I really do like that. It's a nice touch to like, so that way they don't have to film shots as well, but it looks more grounded. Now you go to the place, look at it's been trashed. People are rioting. And now Glenn's got his firearm. Oh, here we go. The big confrontation between Glenn and his girl, his alien girlfriend, where she finally admits she's from Planet X. You must have seen women identical to me there. Yeah, multiple. He's like, and now I'm leaving you for them. Sorry, bye.
Well, I mean, like, why have one when I can have three? Same.
Oh, were you ordered to marry me? No.
Something tells me this guy got way too into the story with the marriage, and he's like, I'm leaving my wife. I want this one now.
Well, that's what I think happened. I imagine that Nick Adams.
He doesn't know real life from like.
Yeah, like
fictional.
when what's the word I'm looking for? An actor who gets into the roles. I don't know why it's off the top. Method actor. This is often the result of a person who shouldn't be a method actor, who tried to do method acting and didn't do the proper research. Maybe because back then it wasn't as available to them to understand like how acting can really take a toll on your mental process. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a really emotional scene. I actually really do enjoy this because you can obviously tell that she wants to be with him.
Surprisingly, this is one of the only romantic moments so far that I've been like, all right, this is okay, because it's just like kind of needed, but not.
This is really rough. So obviously she doesn't want to go with the Exilian. She believes in Glenn and she wants to be with Glenn. Ooh. So they're going to take Glenn away now. But what are they going to do to her? She's officially traded. She's not wearing her head antenna.
Could you imagine if we all looked like this on a daily basis, like the aliens, and everyone was just walking around the Penn Center or like downtown?
Oh. See how she snuck that into his pocket there?
Yep.
That was the proof right there that she is a traitor.
Nah, it was just some leftover mints from dinner. And she's dead.
And they killed her right in front of him. That's pretty rough shit. I've seen the original English cut, obviously, as well. And honestly, Nick Adams' acting is off the charts incredible in these films. I would like to, if I really had the time, I would like to go in and like cut the audio from him and then place the English audio. So everyone spoke Japanese, but then he just spoke English, just so I could get the really good like acting out of him. You know what I mean? Because obviously the gentleman who's doing the voicing for Nick Adams' character Glenn in the Japanese cut, he's still good, but to express the emotion that Nick Adams is actually putting into this, because you know you got to believe he had feelings for this woman too. So his acting was actually probably really good in that scene. It's really emotional. So now Earth is in danger. Glenn lost the love of his life, and it's not looking too good for Earth or any of our protagonists here. So,
and they got robbed of their guardians.
Yep. And
life is not good for them. They got Mothra. Kinda.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, where is Mothra? Why is she not helping yet? Budget. That's literally the reason she's not in this movie is budget. Or they just they didn't want to overcrowd it.
I feel like it's all budget, because if they added Mothra, they wouldn't have been able to, you know, work on the ships, little things like that.
They wouldn't have been able to afford Nick Adams.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, they can't afford Eye Patch Man, so clearly there was budgeting problems there.
Yeah, Akira Harada, he's an amazing actor. Every time he's in these movies, like I understand why you like him. He just brings life into every role he's in. He's actually a phenomenal actor. Especially in the first Gojira, like he is so good in that. Like he plays the mad scientist role so good.
Whole mood.
Top mood. 10 out of 10.
Just him with an eye patch.
But what if the eye patch was on the other side?
What if he woke up on the other side of the bed?
That's kind of what happens in the next movie. So now they've got control over Rodan and Godzilla, and they're like, so we've killed Ghidorah, and now we're going to use Godzilla and Rodan to destroy your Earth. This is your last chance to surrender.
Man, these guys are dicks.
Yo, they played Earth, though. You got to give it to them.
They're an entire alien race of Nelsons.
Yeah, literally. Now, it would be great if they all stole a cane from an old man and all got shot at the end. that would make me happier. Another great villainous character, Nelson and Mothra. He's a phenomenal actor. He did a great job in that film. He really brought that. I feel like without Nelson, the film would have been okay, but you wouldn't buy the villainous plot as much. You know what I mean?
The overall lesson in that film is respect your elders.
Yep. Seriously.
You get shot. Bing, bang, boom. I like their prisons. Those things look rad.
Yeah. He's like, I've checked every square inch. There's no way out. And interesting, the bars and the whole room is soundproof. Like even the bars don't make noise. That's a little peculiar, isn't it? Why don't the bars make noise?
Because they're plastic or chocolate. They're made out of chocolate.
But
it's
why?
When they walk in the chocolate factory.
Why did they make them that way? I wonder.
So when you scream for help, no one can hear you.
So the Exilians are obviously they touched on it a little bit before, and like when they were talking about it, but they're all controlled by like a frequency, right? Like the computer sends frequencies to their antennas, and that's what controls and tells them what to do, essentially.
When that guy was standing in front of the door and the door is closed, I imagine that it closed on his antenna a few times.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh shit.
I don't know if that threw you for a loop there, but here in Canada, at least, we use 12-hour clocks. We use AM, PM. That was a full 24-hour clock that we just saw. It's like the most overwhelming thing is to look at a 24-hour analog clock.
So would like 1 p.m. be 13?
Yeah.
Would it be 13 p.m.?
So at midnight, technically, and then you go to bed at midnight. So that would be 1 a.m. would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And when you get to noon, 12 noon, 1 in the afternoon would be 13, 14, 15, 16. It would go all the way to 24, and midnight is 24 hours.
But would it switch to PM at noon? Like, would you still go into PM?
There's no
or
AM. There's no AM or PM. It's just 24 hours.
Oh, okay. That's what I was wondering. I'm like, is there an AM or PM, or is it just...
Especially in military, because they can say like, 0400, and they don't have to do AM, PM. There's no chance of confusion. You know what I mean?
I'd be messed up on that one.
Yeah. Well, in Japan, they literally go by a lot of countries go by the 24-hour clock for that exact reason. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, we're just used to AM, PM. The 24-hour makes more sense. It really does.
Can't teach an old dog new tricks at this point. Can't teach me 24 hours. I'll be like 12.
12. Oh, I meant to look. I wish I was looking because I haven't been looking, but there is one gentleman in this movie. If you remember Mothra versus Godzilla, the two greedy guys, you know, the one guy with the mustache?
Yes.
He's in this movie. I just
don't
know
sweet
which character
mustache.
he is. He still has a mustache, I believe. I just trying to figure out which one he is. I think he was in earlier on. I think he was an earlier character. I don't think he makes another appearance yet. So here they're testing their frequency on how they communicate, because they're using the audio message that they gave them for the cure for cancer, so they can see what frequency they use to record at. And now they're creating an electrical frequency that can interrupt it to stop it. So what they're going to try and do is emit a frequency to stop them from controlling the monsters. That's what they're trying to do right now.
That's pretty neat.
Because realistically, if they don't have the monsters, they can win, because they're just UFOs and people, right? Like they can just bomb them. But right now they can't, because they have the control of the monsters, and that they move at them at any point, they'll just tell the monsters to wreck Japan. So they're kind of at a stalemate right now. So right now, before they have 24 hours to comply. So in this 24 hours, they have to think of a way they can get back control of the monsters or take out the Exilians. That's pretty much the plot we're sitting at right now. And we've only got about 20 minutes left of the film. So this is when shit's going to get real.
It sure is quiet.
It sure is quiet. Well, yeah, it's a soundproof room, bro. It's really interesting, though. If you do recall, our little inventor here has a device, though, no?
Yeah.
And it's very weird why he brought up that device when he wasn't going to use it.
I knew it would come up eventually.
So this is the paper.
I didn't know if that's going to be the device that stops the frequency, isn't it?
Possibly.
I'm a genius.
So here's the letter that she slipped into Glenn's pocket before she was eliminated by the Exilians.
Glenn, by the time you read this, I'll have titties. I don't know.
I'll have titty. I'll have been eliminated, but I have no regrets. With you, I found love beyond all computer calculations. Oh, how nerdy. One more thing our calculations failed to account for.
Sounds like my girlfriend.
So lame and cheesy. I love it. But this
the new Resident Evil game has come out. I will not see you for 2 weeks.
Facts.
Till then, my love.
May 7th, bitches. I mean, I was going to get Pokemon Snap, but I feel like I'll wait on Snap and get Resident Evil first.
That beautiful bitch bought me Pokemon Snap, and then she ordered Resident Evil.
There's the lady alarm. There it is. What kind of noise does it make? A really irritating one. Look at. What's this remind you of? We mentioned a movie earlier. Mars Attacks.
Yeah.
Remember when they play the music and all their heads explode?
Yeah.
It's kind of what's happening here. I tell you, man, Tim Burton's just a huge Godzilla fan, and he's watched all these movies.
But secretly, when the noise plays, they all get boners.
Yeah. Well, it's
common
practice too, right? Like studios take from other countries' work. Like American studios take from other, like, why do you think they made monster movies? Because, I mean, technically Kong was first, but you know what I mean? Like movies always take from other movies, just the way it is. Like you'll notice too, a lot of these movies are kind of original, like the Showa era, But once the verses, like the Heisei series starts, which is my personal favorite, you can really tell every movie takes from another popular movie of its time. Like Battle for Earth or Godzilla and Mothra Battle for Earth is a lot like Indiana Jones because it came out like a year or two before. And then what's the other one that comes after it that's very similar? Oh, Godzilla versus Destoroyah came out a little bit after Aliens, the second Alien film, and it's a lot like Aliens. So
like I guarantee Tim Burton is a Godzilla film. Like that dude is so weird in the sense of like he likes all the good stuff. You know what I mean? Like he can appreciate these movies. Like he would watch French movies, like anything that was bizarre and kind of like off compared to American culture. And I could totally see the nods for certain movies or moments in movies where it's like, yeah, this is totally like Mars Attacks, for example. Like, yeah, he definitely got some inspiration.
Yeah, because I know that he's made like a lot of jokes. Like, I know in one interview he said he wanted to see Batman versus Godzilla at one point as a joke.
I would gladly see that. Still better than the Universal Jaws ride.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's interesting. I'm looking right now. I'm just curious now because I'm looking at Tim Burton's top 10 favorite films that he said he likes. 10 is The Wicker Man. That makes sense. Wizard of Oz, The Golden Voyage of Sinbad. So he likes stop animation and visual effects work there. Black Sunday.
Who would have guessed that?
Oh, guess what his sixth favorite film is?
Godzilla.
The War of the Gargantuas, which is a Toho film as well about giant monsters. We'll probably get to that one eventually as well.
I feel like he just really likes Toho.
There you go. Number 4. As we know, then imagination is crucial factor in Tim Burton's work. His movies are so distinctive because he's such a visual director, being persnickety over little details others may not consider and adding elements others would never have thought of. With this and his penchant for siding with the sympathetic monster, here are 2 more Tim Burton facts that are unlikely to come as a surprise. Godzilla is another one of his favorite movies. He even felt such a strong connection with the titular beast that one of his childhood ambitions was to be the man in the Godzilla suit.
Yeah, see, like I could see that 1,000%. Like,
yeah. And then number 2 is
homies.
Dracula, and number 1 is Frankenstein. Frankenstein's a great film. We'll probably tackle the original Frankenstein. All the Universal monster movies we'll tackle eventually. Like, we'll do Black Lagoon, we'll do Frankenstein, we'll do Dracula. It'd be cool to
please do The Elephant Man?
Yes.
That movie is so sad but good at the same time.
We should also do Eraserhead. That's another classic.
Oh, dude, I'm buying that on VHS.
I do like I really love the set work they've done with the Exilians, though. I like how they have the globes spinning and the red lights flashing. They give you a lot to look at because like there is a lot of plot draw near the end of this, and I find that this movie is very well paced. You know how the last one, it was a lot of interesting stuff going on, but it wasn't very well paced. So like the only thing keeping the movie going was the fact that lots of different things were happening. This one kind of just the same thing is happening, but the pacing is very well done.
Well, that's where the Mothra budget went.
Here we go. They're like, all right, time's up, guys. Monsters are destroying. They're going to wreck house now.
You had your 24 hours. Time is nigh.
Notice how Godzilla's still doing the same dance thing he did from the last one, but Rodan's flying this time. They're like, guys, we can't have Rodan and Godzilla having a dance off again. We can't do that. He's got to be flying.
Gojira is coming, but it's literally the band Gojira.
Yeah. Oh, I love Gojira. I also find it funny that their name was originally Godzilla, but they had to change it.
I have told like 5 people that because I'm still in awe, being like, wow.
So cool.
Little dumb nerd jokes or
Right?
like things like that. I'm like, wow, that's pretty neat.
So now they've got all the military out. They're like, okay, we're not going to kill these aliens, but these aliens now have threatened us with monsters. So now we're going to throw all our military out there. You think that if they just threw the military out and just blew up all the UFOs right off the bat, there'd be no way to control them. And then
I demand we make a new band called King Kong.
Down.
And just wear giant Kong costumes with bondage gear.
Sold.
Be the new Guar.
Oh my God, yes. I love the Showa era movies so much. I just love I love how every practical, like, see this laser thing they've got here? Like, every little model was like, it's not like they copied off something. It's all very original and very cool. Like, yes, it kind of looks like a telescope, but like I just like how they get so creative with their miniatures. I just love it.
They're just having a blast, man.
I would love to work on a film like this. Like, it would just be so much fun. I like I said, you'd probably want to be the guy in the suit. I wouldn't like to do that, but I would love to do like the miniatures and the puppeting. I think that would be so fun.
Oh, I'd love to be the guy in the suit, just destroy all the
Yeah.
miniatures and just do weird dances and be like, "Meh."
Well, it's interesting too because the original two actors that were up for the role of Godzilla, the one original guy they had, he studied animals and like animal tendencies, and he was kind of like the perfect fit to play a creature and a monster, but he really couldn't handle the suit work and really couldn't do it. So they ended up getting Nakajima because Ishiro Honda had worked with Nakajima on Seven Samurai before, and he did a couple stunt works, a couple stunt moves with him and stuff like that, where like the fire was exploding behind him and stuff like that. And Shiro Honda was like, man, Nakajima, you can take a blast, man. You can work on some pretty harsh stuff. And like, they obviously had like a good business relationship together. They've worked together. So it was like a no-brainer for him to bring him in. And Nakajima went, and Nakajima was knew like lots of martial arts and stuff like that. So he added that fighting edge to the monster that we wouldn't have gotten if we had the original. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do like that a lot. Woo! So I haven't been paying attention too much, but I don't think we've seen the stock footage reused yet.
I don't believe so. I don't
the
recall
main
any.
stock footage that's really the Mothra stuff's hard to hit for me because I find that like they're a lot similar. Like Godzilla versus Mothra wasn't filmed too long after this, but when they reuse Rodan's footage, that is a 50s film, so it looks very dated. When they use it, they use the shot we like where Rodan comes down over the building. You remember when he comes over the building and then he flaps his wing and he lands?
Yep.
That scene's in this movie. They reuse that shot, and then they reuse some of the destructive footage after that scene. It's probably going to be in the next few scenes here, and it's not bad. Like, unless I told you that and you hadn't seen Rodan in a while, like, you know, the regular viewer wouldn't have noticed. You know what I mean? It's like a keen eye that would notice that, but later on, like, it's very obvious when they reuse stock footage.
Well, when you have like 10 years, 10, 20 years in between movies, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. In the future, like the next film, not the next one, but the one after it, Son of Godzilla, it's a divisive film in the franchise, but it's not bad by any means. Like, it's still a good film. It's all right. But there's a really terrible film a couple later called All Monsters Attack. And every single monster shot is stock footage from Son of Godzilla and the next movie we're going to watch. And they just,
the son of Godzilla isn't Godzilla just parenting his son and trying to make him
and there's a little
kid,
bit of a
be
story
bummed.
to it. It's funny.
I want to see Godzilla push his kid on a swing.
Oh man. Oh, see, there's a shot right there. That's the stock footage. See how it looks more like blocky and fuzzy? Like the train there, like all that stock footage from Rodan.
It could have been worse
because it's fuzzy and you can see the cracks in the film. You know, when they would used to film and they'd have the cracks in old film. You can really tell.
Also, I think it's a different Rodan costume, no? Because they reused the footage, so it'd be the original costume.
Oh, you know what it is? I think they reused footage from the last film. I think some of this might be stock footage as well from Ghidorah. Like that right there, I think is stock. Either way, the Rodan stuff is definitely stock footage. And that's an awkward cut. They do the same shot 3 times. Did you see that?
Yep.
And they just repeat it to make it look like the tank's moving a longer distance. Clever, but again, once you realize it, it's painfully silly.
Doesn't really work well.
No, jump cuts are not good. You never use jump cuts in vehicles traveling, and you never use jump cuts in fighting movies unless you're Michael Bay.
What happened to them? What happened to them defeating Ghidorah?
Oh yeah, Ghidorah comes back. Like Ghidorah just pieced out. They didn't fully KO Ghidorah. They just scared it off essentially because they want to use all 3 monsters.
I feel like this man has a normal thing about running away from his battles. He likes to start them, and then as soon as something else is too challenging, he's like, nope.
Yeah, and I feel like
I'm going back to a different planet.
The fight between Godzilla, Rodan, and Ghidorah, it was so like it wasn't really full contact. Like they kicked some rocks, they shot some stuff, they hit each other around a bit, but it wasn't serious damage. And I think they did that on purpose because they kind of they had a fake fight. You know what I mean? Like they kind of put on a fake fight, like kind of like they put on a wrestling show essentially for Earth. So that way they believe that happened. So then they could invade with all the monsters afterwards. Godzilla, Rodan, and Ghidorah.
Fair enough. Do some smaller damage and then they all show up and destroy.
There you go. There's more Rodan footage there. Damn. I love the fire
destruction. Yeah, exactly. The destruction in this film is pretty good. Like
you can really tell there because that's Rodan stock footage there, and then that's not. That's not. You can tell when it's not used. Ah, I like it says camera on the door there. I was like, that's a camera? No, it said camera. I just got excited. That would be very bad if they crossed those two over in movies. There'd be some lawsuits happening. That's Rodan stock footage. You can tell because the military soldiers are wearing different outfits.
No, that's just a different division. God,
It was laundry day.
stop being so critical. They're trying.
I do love Rodan's destruction. You know, some people hate the wind fights. Like some people hate that wind is a weapon in these movies because they're like, wind isn't very cool visually because it's just air moving. But like if you think about it, to watch the miniatures fly all over the place, like I kind of like it. Some people hate the wind battles. I don't mind them.
It's growing on me. The first Rodan one was kind of cheesy because it just didn't look right, but like the later ones, it definitely has gotten better.
Yeah. I can't wait till we watch the legendary films, like the brand new ones that just came out. Because essentially the last film that we watched, Ghidorah, the Three-Headed Monsters, essentially is the plot of Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Fair enough.
So you get to see Ghidorah, Mothra, Rodan, and Godzilla, but all full, 2017 CGI, big US budget. Like it's phenomenal. But you almost have to watch these first so you can really appreciate what they did in the new one.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Like I tell everyone, watching these as a kid, obviously when you're a kid, your imagination's huge. You overlook all the silliness. So it's the world to you. And it looks so real and so awesome. And I took my mom and my family to see King of the Monsters. And before I watched the movie and afterwards, I told them, I said, what you just saw is what I saw watching the old movies when I was a kid. That's what it looked like to me when I was a kid. To see this now you know how cool it was to me when I was a kid, because I'd be watching it, think it was the coolest thing ever. And they're like, this is stupid, from their point of view. But when I got to show them a newer version of it for someone who doesn't appreciate practical effects in the older movies, they could actually see how I felt about it. They're like, wow, that was awesome. I'm like, see, this is what you're missing out on.
It's literally that scene in SpongeBob where with like the imagination and like Squidward can't see it.
Yep.
But that's growing up and getting older is like you lose your imagination. Like I remember watching movies as a kid being like, wow, this looks beautiful. Spy Kids, Shark Boy and Lava Girl, go back and watch them now. You'll be like, this is garbage. What was I thinking as a kid? But when I was a kid, man, that looked beautiful.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those movies that when you go back and you're like, this does not hold up.
You know what does hold up? The first Friday the 13th film.
Fuck yeah, it does.
You know what one doesn't hold up? The third one.
The third one is the best.
Because he gets the
You're
mask.
hating.
I know. I love
the
the third
third,
one
the fourth,
too.
and the fifth are the best ones. You're hating hard.
That's new chapter in Jason Lives, right? After that, then.
Yep.
Yeah, I love those three too. Those are like definitely, and I even like New Blood. As silly as the telekinesis shit is, I love it. But
I don't mind it.
I mean, the second one's the best. Let's be real. The second film is the best. I think the first two Fridays are my favorite because they're like a true sequel, right? Like the other ones are just Jason coming again, Jason coming again, Jason coming again. But the first one, it's cool because, it's his mom. And then at the end, you see him come out of the water and then he is the killer. Like it carries more of a narrative, I find.
I think the fourth would be hands down my favorite.
Oh, because it's got Corey Feldman.
One. Exactly.
Anything that guy is in is instant gold.
And then also, did you know for part 5, when they do the flashback scene of Corey Feldman having the nightmares, like because he's older, right? And he's beating him or imagining that he beat him or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Roy comes back as Jason. But anyways, Corey Feldman did that on the weekends while he was filming The Goonies. And he was so tired that they would literally have to like pick him up and bring him into like his little trailer. He'll sleep for a few hours, get up and go do The Goonies.
Yeah, he's a hard-working kid.
Well, he enjoyed the Friday films. He's like, I loved it. It was one of the best times. So he's like, I'll gladly come back, but I'm super busy, so I can only come back for like flashbacks.
Well, yeah, you know why he liked it? It's because it was like a low budget films are always more fun to work on because the people are actually passionate about it. It's not some corporation running the bullshit. You know what I mean?
Low budget, one of his first acting films. Yeah. Like horror movies are always going to be fun. You learn like some cool effects and whatnot.
Sorry, I don't want to. Right
They're
here,
all
this is where
freaking
it
out.
switches over. Yeah, because they've officially put the frequency that Buddy made into the frequency they were transmitting from, and it just went into all their ships. So now all their ships are going crazy and crash landing.
Good.
Yeah, right. They were like, we have to blow it up, and they're like, no, I have the secret, and they didn't believe him. But he's like, no, I'm gonna save the world with my little lady device. I love it. I believe he's the telecommunications officer is the guy from the villain from Godzilla versus Mothra. Let me try and find him here, so I know exactly where he is. Yeah, Mobile Commander. Yeah, that's him right there. What a good time. So the guy, the military man in the green on the far right, but left to the of our main character, that's the villain from Godzilla versus Mothra, who got shot and got the shit kicked out of him because he was a greedy little bastard. Oh, here we get that soundtrack booming now. That's one thing that will never disappoint. Even as the music gets sillier in some of them, especially the next one, it gets really silly. But this is, I think, the last time for a little bit we actually get the Ifukube soundtrack here. Because after this is Godzilla versus the Sea Monster, I believe. Godzilla versus Ebra, which I believe you have a different person doing the music for that film.
I like that when Godzilla fell, he did that dance stance.
Yeah. Oh, he's seizuring now. They've been hit. Because that's the people, because they're reacting to how they're reacting, right? Because they're controlling them. And they're freaking out because they're getting their minds boggled. So all the monsters are acting the same way as them.
This Rodan looks so much better than the last one. Like the neck isn't as chunky and it doesn't have that weird,
which
like,
is amazing because it's the
effect.
same suit. They just touched it up and they probably had I wonder if it's the same actor who's in Rodan. Because maybe
I feel like it was just the neck. They just had to taper the neck more instead of making it look like he literally swallowed an egg and then went to fight.
He had to scarf down his meal before he went to fight.
He's literally that one guy that kept eating the eggs.
That's a good
everywhere he went.
Everything caving in on them and they're barely surviving. That's cool. Earth base is done for. You fool, we are invincible. Nope.
Apparently not.
Earth's defeating you. I got news for you guys. Just trying to find out who's the who does the music in the next one, because it is different from this one. I know that for sure. Ebra, Horror of the Deep is the next one we'll be watching. And yeah, different music for this one. The person doing the music for this one is Masuro Sato. So the music
is the next different. One is the next one going to take place in like more water?
Yeah, the next one's really slight.
Like
the next one is
land?
The definitive point where the Godzilla franchise changes, because we have a new director, so it's not Ishiro Honda. We still have Tanaka as the producer, but we have different writers, different music, different everybody, but we have a lot of the same actors coming back. Huh. The reason there's a different director, though, the reason it's not the usual director, Ishiro Honda, and everyone else, is because, like I said earlier, this was not supposed to be a Godzilla film. It was supposed to be a Kong film, and it got changed kind of last minute because of right issues with the Kong name and stuff like that.
They're all stoked.
I like how the UFOs just combust and explode. And the UFOs explode and the monsters come back.
Because now they're not controlled. So that's pretty dope.
I love how you see the eyes move. Yeah. I like the moving eyes.
Why am I on my ass?
He's like, what happened? Where am I? I was sleeping holding my dick and now I'm here. Then I was in space. I'm going to kick this Rocket Ghidorah. Fuck you. As soon as he gets up, just goes right back to fighting. Doesn't even, just goes right to his instincts. Whew, there's a lot of wire work there. That was rough. Yeah. I love that Rodan piggybacks off Godzilla's back to take him out. I love how Ghidorah always gets his ass beat. He's always just getting his ass kicked. And I don't want to spoil too much, but when we watch Destroy All Monsters, that's like the big monster brawl. What they pretty much put every single monster that's been in any of the films all together. And Ghidorah just, let's say, does not have a good time in that movie.
Which is sad because he's like the most evil looking villain thus far. Like he looks badass and you would assume he would do pretty well.
But he gets just his ass handed to him.
Yeah. No. Oh, now Godzilla's having a tantrum.
Yeah, he's shooting lightning at Godzilla's feet. He's like, dance, puppet, dance. It's like when you shoot guns at their feet in old Westerns.
Oh, that Rodan footage right there did not hold up. That does not look very good.
No. You see right there, Rodan caught on fire. There was a flame on his wing, like he caught fire, and then now it's not. They must have had to cut and put it out.
Wave your wings faster to put out
It's not
the
like
flame.
the stuff wasn't flammable. Like
there it is. Did you see underneath it? Did you see underneath the wing? It was back on fire.
Yeah. These things are very flammable. So it was very dangerous because you couldn't, it took you like a solid 2 minutes to get out of the suit with help. So like how fast the fire spreads, you know, it'd probably become your coffin.
Now imagine if you had to take a shit. Hurry! I'm like,
Bro,
I'm prairie dogging.
I got
you gotta
news for
get me out of this.
In a lot of the films, I love that Rodan carries Godzilla and just yeets him into Ghidorah and they fly into the water. So funny. He literally just picks Godzilla up and uses him as a weapon. But I do like this here. They land in the water and then they show you the destruction because the water comes up like a tsunami and starts wrecking the town. Because that would happen. They're huge monsters, right? It would cause a huge tsunami.
And everyone's just watching.
Yeah. Yeah, see the gentleman on the left there, right next to our to Fuji there, in that cap. That's the villain from Godzilla versus Mothra. Oh no, he's moved again. Where is he? Ghidorah's like,
now he's running away again.
Yeah, he's like, I lost this battle. I'm getting the hell out of here.
What a bitch.
And Ghidorah runs away again.
Ghidorah's a bitch.
I will say one thing. This film has a lot of buildup, and I feel like it kind of just ends. Like there's not really like a turnaround. Like, yes, the aliens are destroyed. Ghidorah's going, like, we've won. Everything's okay. But like, I feel like there's no like good conclusion with Nick Adams' character. You know, it's kind of just yeah, we can rest easy. We did it. Good job, boys. Like, I just feel like they didn't tie up everything as well as they could have.
Well, there was no conclusion to his character. They both just kind of went in the water. One flew away and they're just like, well, they'll be back eventually. No. Like,
yeah, and then the ending, they're like, it's done for now.
Learn?
Yeah, they're like, it's all good now, guys. We're done. It's all home. Yay, we're good. And then their boss is like, no, you have to go back to Planet X. They're like, what? Like, yeah, you need a thorough survey. They're like, guess we'll have another adventure again. Ha ha ha. You know?
I don't know, man. I would have been like, all right, now everyone in those waters and start searching.
The end. What do we think of that, folks?
The other one was better. I don't know why,
yeah?
But the other one, I liked the other one better. This one was okay, but the like you were just saying, the end kind of lost it for me.
Yeah.
I liked the battle, but I just don't like that the one fucker runs away and they're all literally they just roll into the water and they're like, all right, well, we'll see you in a decade.
Yeah. Like I said, this movie is cool for a lot of reasons. Like I said, it has the first American actor who's actually in the film and wasn't like composed in by the US after for a North American release. He's actually part of the film. I think that's really unique and a smart move on their part to really make the movies differentiate and feel different, especially because you're doing a Ghidorah movie and then a Ghidorah movie. It's nice to really separate them with the alien invasion plot. But the thing is this movie starts that, but it also starts a lot of bad things. Like it starts the whole aliens invading using mind control on monsters, and that is overused a lot in the future of these movies. It's definitely a plot
Mars
device
attacks.
they use a lot. Yeah. And also the dependence and use on stock footage is a little annoying, but it was bearable in this one. Like, honestly, it was used to the right amount because it made the Rodan scenes awesome. So
it was not bad at all.
The next one is a laugh fest. The next one is not a good film. I like it for its own quirky reasons, but it's not that great. But we'll see when we get to it.
And that'll be number 9. So
number
9 episodes already. Damn.
Yeah, we're getting there. The next batch of movies, it's really hit and miss. Like, we had a good one, a bad one, a good one, a bad one, but then the last couple are flawless. So we just have to get through a couple of the rough ones, but they'll be a good time. We'll have some laughs. We'll look up some cool fun facts for y'all, and we'll get through them. We'll have a good time regardless. It's like you said, you got to see everyone once, right? Watching paint dry can be fun with the right people. So
also, if you don't know, Pokemon Snap's out. Get it.
Yes, Pokemon Snap.
Sorry, go.
Send us all your great Pokemon pictures. So as always, guys, if you have any cool facts you want to send us our way or any cool ideas you want us to review movies in the future, contact us at killerkaijupodcast@gmail.com, or you can obviously add us at Facebook or our Twitter. And if you have any other like versions of the film, or if you need help finding any of the films, let us know and we can find those for you as well. Okay. Awesome. All right. So that's where we'll stop it for today, guys. We'll see you next time with Ebra, Horror of the Deep. Until next time, enjoy your kaiju madness.
Later.
Peace.